Okay. Um, I just I think that as a target individual, the way they are trying to make you accept a false reality, it's just insanity. To even think that that's gonna work. But let me just introduce myself the way I need to introduce myself. I'm what you call a TI, a target individual. And when you hear people call themselves TIs, usually it means that we are subjects to this human experimentation, and we are used as these subjects to this technology that this Department of Defense is really developing and continuously improving on, and they need human subjects. Uh, but this technology is extremely sophisticated, and can do so much to your body. And the craziest part is what it can do to your brain and your thoughts. We are continuously manipulated to think in certain ways. This technology is such a sophisticated technology that can can take over your mind and make you think in certain ways. And it's hard to believe when you say that. It's so hard to believe, but you found out that the Department of Defense, specifically DARPA, have been working years on years on technology specific to neurotechnology, and the capability of this technology is extremely sophisticated. And we target individuals are what has been the reason why this technology is becoming more and more sophisticated, because you hear target individuals coming from like decades and decades and decades ago, and that means that there's been experimentations on human for a long time. But this experimentation doesn't just come with this sophisticated technology. This governmental entity contract and utilize people around you to create a ecosystem of false reality, right? They want you to start thinking and accepting this psyops as if it's reality. For example, you get employed by perps. They try to present a psyop of some sort. They want you to subscribe to reality that's falsified. And it's just pure disturbing insanity. But this program is like extremely, huh, like when you become a target individual, everybody around you, anybody you interact with, are involved in this program. Now, you hear a lot of things that a lot of target individuals saying that, this is, everybody, my neighbors are involved, my this and that, and that's because when you become this human experimentation, they surround you with a reality that's created for you to start accepting these manipulations that this technology is implementing onto you. And it's just so hard to believe, and it's so easy to get lost in this falsified reality. They want you to be continuously falling into this BS of reality. But this program employs and contracts individuals that aren't, they're civilians, contracted to do these things to you, to try to make you accept. And you hear a lot about scripts of things they say repetitively to try to get you to accept this false reality. You get manipulated so much. Memories, thoughts, reactions, stimulations, arousals, all kind of manipulation. On top of that, you are being weakened because your bones, your joints, your muscles, your organs are all being destroyed. Slowly though, right? They try to prolong like this torture as much as they can. They can obviously, this technology can definitely destroy you in 2 seconds, right? In one day you can just die. Your heart can stop. But this is a technology that try to like that slowly breaks you down mentally, physically, and other ways. And you're supposed, in the midst of that breaking down, subscribe to this false reality. You'll hear a lot of those testimonials, and you hear the same stories over and over and over and over from all kind of people all around the world. And you understand that this is purely, and the reason why is such a, you know, the biggest question is like, why would they dedicate so much effort, resources, manpower, on just one individual or nobody. And that's because we are just human subject. This is not for like protecting the BS stories is what they should come up with. I'm in New York City, right? People are dying every day here. People are getting the crime is there. People are like death, like there is all kind of threats, real life issues, real disturbing things happening to you, to not to me, but to around you. This is New York. This is not La La Land. This is not paradise. Real danger. Why would they do so much on one person who is no danger to nobody? But of course they have to create this false story. It's because there's a purpose. This purpose is obviously for the purpose of improving and developing in technology. Do you know how many people probably got killed, stabbed, kidnapped, and tortured? So you're quick to understand the reality. I was like, I'm a target individual, so I'm a human subject. The government is using me in this matter to improve their technology. I'm not the only one. There's many others. There's even efforts, right? For example, right now I'm hearing somebody's like they're suing me, right? They tell me that my employer will sue me. Now, I'm not a high position person. To sue me, they'll spend more money in suing me than paying me my salary. Why would entities even think like that, right? It's because it's part of this program. It's part of creating the stress they want out of a target individual. You understand, like reality is, they just alter reality for you to accept these things. But if you start seeing things for what they are, target individual, you understand why would they dedicate so much for people like, how bad it looks for a company to sue a person to this level like it doesn't look good, but they will do it for the purpose to get the results. Currently I'm seeing somebody, I'm with this person. She's big time perp. I've described this kind of person before I met this person because they try to gaslight you into accepting a false reality. With me, they like to present themselves as this progressive, socially conscious, feminist-like, volunteer, working for all these different entities that do good to the community, and try to use them to make me accept this false reality, when in reality I see it for what it is. This is pure psyop. You don't think these entities know how to create proper psyops? It's funny, I was talking to her, it's like, if like a CIA entity wanted to use you you could put like in 2 seconds. You have so much that you want that they can provide to you that you be compromised in a second. I'm not even thinking they do that. I think this person could compromise herself alone, by herself. But I'm saying, like, if they really wanted to compromise you, are you working for this volunteer company? Oh, we can give some good donations. You just have to do this, this and that. 2 seconds. Like it's like in a millisecond. It's not even. And she was at first like, no, I'll never be compromised. I said, oh, please. They compromise people way, 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 way stronger than you. You in 2 seconds. Oh my gosh. They don't even have to compromise. They just bring somebody that you look up to. It's like, oh, that's it. But my point is, for me, they use the psyops. And I'm supposed to look at them. It's like, look at me. We do this. It's our group. It's our money. It's like, BS. For me, what I've done to remind myself, because as they manipulate you and your surrounding, I look at my phone. There's a picture of somebody on my phone. And every time they try to make me lose the reality and make me think of this fantasy they put together, I look at my phone and it's a true reminder of reality. This is why I'm here. This is the reason why I'm here. And if you see my phone, man, target individuals and others who aren't target individuals watching that, you hear a lot about like religious aspect of things when as a target individual. And that's because these tactics are so disturbing, the way they manipulate us and the technology, the sophistication of the technology. It's like if you read the Bible and observe what's happening to you right now, you will think that this is something the Bible has mentioned, right? Because the reality is, when this technology is created, we're talking about DoD. DoD, Department of Defense, are working on technology, weaponized technology. They do things to harm people. You will call it evilness because it's weapon. Weapons are not supposed to do good. When they come up with guns to shoot you and be more accurate in your killing, it's evil, right? When they come with this sophisticated technology that can remotely do things to you, it's supposed to do evil things to you. So when they implement these tactics from this weapon, I swear, the things they do to you can be, you can read in the Bible and like, what is this? This is what's happening to me. But of course, these people are trying to do bad things to you, evil things to you. It's part of how they develop this technology that is used as a weapon. So for us, like individual, we see that and we start thinking biblically. They have these tactics of trying to disorient you, distort reality, and deceive you. Evil stuff. You go and you look, oh, what are the evil, the satanical tactics? Like if you go into like some religious website, you'll see those 3Ds. But in war, that's what they do. They try to deceive the enemy, distort reality, and disorient that person. So even though we are just human guinea pigs in this program, they're going to do these things using this weaponry to see how it functions and improve on it. And they're going to continuously use civilians that can do nothing about it to get this weapon to the level it gets, to continuously grow this. What is the fastest way to break somebody down? But slowly. It's just like trying to continuously improve some technology. It's like a machine learning technology where the more sample it gets, the better it gets. And that's what we are to this program. These people around you making noise campaign when they want you to have these thoughts. It's so disturbing. For me, specifically, and actually, you'll find out soon that the tactics are very systematic. They do the same things to many other people, and it's systematically done. Nothing is unique to you. They might tweak a little things here and there, but the reality is, overall, the tactics are the same. The worst things for me is when they do the psychological torture, because what they want to do, and this is a word I just kind of learned, because there was an article talking about memory manipulations and how there's a journal and basically try to, people are getting ready for the technology of soon. Technology will permit us to manipulate memories in the commercial world. Now, we know if these things are coming in the commercial world, can you only imagine where it is in the military world, which is what we are subjects to. We are human subjects for this technology that these entities, governmental entities, are still developing and improving on. And so I've been talking about memory manipulation 3 years ago, not knowing that in the real world, because I didn't search like, oh, what do the real world, the commercial world talks about? What do they think about memory manipulation technology? To find out that they've been talking about it since 2016, creating ethical journal papers to get ready for the day, because it's coming really soon, and it's no longer fictional, where memory technology, memory modulations is coming up. And so one thing they talk about is like, if you can manipulate somebody's memory, is it possible to change the notion of self? Basically, if I can manipulate your memories, are you going to see yourself differently? Right, this is very well said, because I was saying this in different ways. Notion of self. Does memory manipulation mess with the notion of self? And for us, they try to change us. So if they can manipulate your memories, it makes you experience this memory with new version of reality. You experience it with a sensation that you didn't experience at the time, a perception that you didn't experience at the time, a stimulation that you didn't experience. Now what they try to do is to try to change your notion of who you are. They try to break you so they can repattern you in this new version of reality. And it was so well said. because the question, and they were questioning this, like, can somebody, if this change your memory, modulate, does it change the individual? Can you imagine? This is the commercial. This is just like people talking in theories. And I'm saying this before I even know these things. Of course, if I can play with your brain like this, you feel like this, you feel like, so what we're doing to you today is you. We just mapped it. Is a way to try to get you to accept these false things that they're manipulating you. And so they try to change your notion of who you are, who you think you are, but manipulating your memories. It's so fucking disturbing. I'm sorry for the language, but this is what these entities who are perfecting a technology utilized for weaponizing technology, and this is what they're doing on us. They're playing with, see, how is this person accepting this thing? How is he subscribing to this? Is he identifying it? Let's make everybody around him tell him, it's you, it's so you. No, you are. Like, is it gonna at one point to be like, oh no, you're right? No, not with me. That's never gonna happen. But am I gonna experience my thoughts the way they want? Of course, there is nothing a target individual. Especially, we can't do nothing about that. We are a human subject. They don't pick people who are, they're gonna be able to. They have the billions of dollars and they can block this. No, they're not a war. They are experimenting a war-like weaponry on human civilians, on subjects that are human guinea pigs, to get this weapon to the level of just. And so they use people around you, they contract, to see how things goes with this guinea pig. They like to, these people, this trash, they're such a bottom feeders. They're like civilians, right? In their mind, they try to build, no, we are at war, You're not at war. There's nothing I can do. You're just going to continue. You do your thing, you watch the result, okay, tweak this, do it, like, you know what I'm saying? Look at it, like, is that this person he's just a person we experiment things on. Okay, I'll be more aggressive, I'll stop it there, and do more, like, that's that. Trash. Now, let me go. Now that I have a little bit of a little introduction, for me specifically, it's been like a lot of those pedophilia-centric manipulations, stimulations, and then try to make you accept this. And you have everybody around you try to get you to accept. They use the scripts. Oh, you might be, huh? It's you. There's some just things that they're going to repeat daily and every day, thinking that you're going to subscribe to it. And your brain is so ravagely manipulated in this illogicalness and almost spectrum. Like, I like to use the retarded word, but I think that's the best way. They truly want you to accept this retardation of reality. And the reality is so disturbing that they try to cope with that. And the people they use, they mind you, the contracted people are just civilians, nobody. Huh? They can be anybody. They can be CEO, they can be neighbors there, but they're just contracted civilians. And they like tell themselves, oh, we're going to do that, we're going to we see severe, like everything possible to counter the reality of what they're part of. Because you got to understand, these things they do to me is things they do to women and children. To properly improve this technology, they need all kinds of samples, which include some of the most vulnerable people you can imagine. Infants are in this program. They can torture and have tortured and will be torturing children as young as 3 weeks old. Because the result of that could not only be beneficial to see how a baby can be broken down in certain ways, what happens to when you do that to a child, but what happens to a father or mother seeing their child going through that, the stress that does that. How does it stress this person? If we do these horrible things to this baby, how is this person going to react? How is it going to break them down? If I had a child and I live with my child, and I knew that my child is being tortured and hurt, do you understand? Like, that is kind of, they would love to see that. Oh, see, and try to mess with you and destroy me and try to break me down. To see the results of what how I react to that. They even said certain things like that. They were like trying to make me feel nervous. Oh, we're gonna do this thing to your sister. But I wasn't worried because I know my sister and my brothers and my mother all involved in this program. You see here a lot of family members involved in your torture, and they joined that part. But if they weren't, they would destroy them. You hear stories about what they've done to children of Target and Vigil, and it's so disturbing. They like to talk about how I'm going to be they're going to do things to my skin, where I have spots on my skins. And I'll have like things happening to and it's exactly the description of what a 3-week-old child was experiencing. And so they did this because the parents were targeting Vigil, and so they would torture the children so they can see the results on the parents. And you hear that it's not only me, but my direct family members are being tortured. It's disgusting. You hear babies, kids. And this trash, doing these things to me, would definitely do that to babies. Now, this is like the physical torture. The psychological torture is disturbingly pedophilia-centric, as always. It's disgusting. The way they just make you think of kids and make you react when you see children is so disturbing. I mean, every day it's like I when I go outside, I'll just look up. Because they use this pedophilia type of torture to psychologically break you down. And listen, I'm not perfect. I do think sexually about women. And so what they do is try to rewire things around to start like making you think in a sexual way about children, and use the way you look at women. You see how they try to flip things up, excuse me. The way you look at a woman, they try to transfer that, change that into how you look at children. Like try to mix these things together. It's so disturbing. To the point where it's just nonstop. And they do these weird things. For example, listen, maybe I need to work on that. I know my own imperfection. And they also play with that to rewire me. So I'm with a woman, and they start making me think of children and give me stimulation while I'm with a woman, so they can start like mixing things around. Actually, yesterday there were some tactics that were so disgusting. Walking around with this person who's a perp, but there's kids, babies, little girl. I'm not even, but I know I can see a small little thing walking around, little kids. I'm just looking up, and I can just see like my peripheral can see like kids walking, and the parents just trying to be like, oh. And they start making me imagine a disgusting. I'm in a car with this person, this woman, and they start making me imagine some sexual things with this kid. It's so disturbing. This baby girl, this little girl, it's so disgusting. And I was like, this is so disgusting. Like some in my mind, trying to make me imagine that it's so disturbing. It's this, and it was so nasty. And they do that all the time. It's like, oh no, I see you. I remember when you felt like. It's like, no. They try to be like, no, we mapped it. You feel like that when you were a kid. So the things they do. I said, no, we mapped it. And this, they use this childlike individual who use these scripts via V2K to try to get you to accept these things that you obviously know is not true. The disgusting bottom feeders. Just, no, we mapped it. You would think like that when you were like, and they try to say that you see that feeling. You feel like that when you were a kid, but maybe the thoughts that we're giving you is with a mixture of it is so disturbing. The way they try to make you rationalize these manipulations of these disturbing pedophilia things they do to you is disturbing. And then they send people who can agitate you just by their sounding, the way they sound. Because you hear childlike individuals, you understand these child individuals are trying to get you to accept these pedophilia things, which happen to have, and they have pedophilia issues in these entities running these programs, which adds to it. Because these childlike individuals work for entities filled with pedophiles. And they are here trying to force you to accept these pedophilia ways. And using this nonsensicalness of rationality to try to get you to accept these things when you know that they do this pedophilia type of torture. And then I'm in a car and I see a woman who's like a large kind of set kind of woman, and they start giving me a strong stimulation. I was like, for a second, I started looking at her, I was like, that's a woman. Usually they don't do that. But it's like, this is a false stimulation. I recognize it. She will not give me the stimulations. And I'm looking, it's like, she's pumping gas. And she's just positioning herself. I'm looking at her, like, what? And the reason why they were doing that is because they wanted me to start not giving me not only the imagination of this baby doing disturbing things right in my brain, the way they make me imagine things, but wanted to incorporate sexual stimulation. And this woman there was posing because maybe like in certain state that like try to make me like she will never make me feel this way. Not like that. I will not look at her as like feel the sexual stimulation. No, but she's a woman. She's an adult woman who's she's not bad. But it's just like you will not make me feel sexual stimulation like that. But the reason why they were stimulating me toward this woman is because they wanted to mix things around between sexual arousal toward a woman and implant that toward this baby, and mix things together to cross and to rewire my brain in this pedophilia was it's so disturbing. And then I'm with this woman, and we become like sexual, and they start bringing this thing back that they missed with, and now bringing up this baby with the stimulation they make me have toward this woman. It's so disturbing. Is a constant mind manipulations to disturb you sexually. And you realize like these people are trash, bottom feeders. Now I understand that when you hear these things, this is why Target and Visual, we start thinking about this thing in a biblical way. This is pure disgusting low-lifeness. And that you're nothing, that's why we can do that. No, you finding out that these people that are coming up with these technologies and tactics, these entities, I'm not talking, these bottom feeders are just, they're just the bottom feeders. So you see them, you look at them, it's like, I know, you will never make me believe that you are the one running this, your money, I know what this is, you're just a bottom feeder. I understand that. You're going to do your part, you're going to try to take this, like, they're going to try to make it seem like it's their money, it's never going to happen. But the real people in charge of this, those entities that are coming up with this technology, with this funding, and the way they come, the protocols and the tactics, these entities like the DARPA entities, the CIA entities, the DOD entities, this problem with pedophilia. This is disturbing. They have issues with pedophiles in these agencies. While for me, what they do is to try to make me look at children. They make me experience my perception toward children in these nasty, sexual, disturbing ways. And mothers will drag their little babies and be like, oh, and so they can do these pedophilia things. It's been non-stop for me. And then with me, listen, they always try to make me think that this is what I would experience when I was a child. First of all, you understand the logic of this trash. Then talk about, no, you're going to pay for what you did as a kid. When I was a child, in middle school, just turned 14 years old, or about to, if not 14 yet. It's something stupid. You gotta understand, the kids around that age, we have testosterone just rising up when we do things and we just discover ourselves. And this one moment, something that, man, it's just me as a grown man thinking about it. I'm like, I'm embarrassed. But you understand, kids at that age, that's what they can do. I did something to myself as a kid, and it's a moment that I'm looking back as like, what was I thinking? Now, obviously, I see things for what they are. Children at that age can do things like that. And the thing is, especially when it's something that's impulsive and never has happened again, you understand this is what a child is capable of doing. Now, these people know better than me that that's the case. They call it being a war because they have to dumb themselves down, because what they're saying is like, oh, you see what you did. They go to the extent of creating even exaggeration version of what I actually did as a kid. You did it in her mouth. It's so disgusting. I don't want to go into specifics, but it's so disturbing. Making me imagine something in the mouth of a kid. It's just disgusting. When I was a kid. And you turn around, you see who's talking to you. She doesn't want to be seen. She looks away. It's like, can you imagine? Because what's happening today, when I look at little girls, they're like, no, but remember what you did as a kid. It's like, what? First of all, when I was a kid, I would not look at a kid and get stimulation and sensation. That's what you make me experience today. And they go into my memories and try to create that. So we mapped it to you when you were a kid. Can you understand this logic? I remember I'm walking to somewhere and I see a kid, a little African kid, and if anything, they were supposed to get stimulation, but he reminded me of me as a child, and make me think they are literally saying that when I was a kid like that, that's when they mapped it to. And I'm like, imagine the father is there, and they say, hey, what we're making you think is like this kid. You see, imagine this kid, like, you see this kid's brain, they said, now we mapped it to the way we're manipulating you right now. What we're doing to you, we are making you think the way you think when you're as young as your child. You see your father now, can you imagine? And try to make sense of it. It's like, now you're paying. And you understand these people are disturbing and bottom feeders. To even try to rationalize it in this retarded way. And you hear these childlike people they like to use. They like to use people who self-respect is not up there. When you see a grown man, yesterday I made a video, or 2 days ago, try to really look at, like, because it's going to look at you like that. I should be accepting of this obvious manipulation. And they're like, oh, they believe you. It's like, trust you believe me, so you know. Okay? I know that if these people make these incentives, you can never make somebody subscribe to these manipulations in these retarded ways. And then you hear the honking, because what they try to do is literally make me imagine that when I was a kid, I was getting the stimulation that they make me think that I'm having today, but me as a kid, and they try to make me imagine that kid having the stimulation. It is people who have understood that we are creating a false reality. We need to act accordingly. So this person start accepting these manipulations that are obviously being manipulation that we make him experience, and try to make him rationalize them. Now, as you can see, as you hear me expressing myself, I'm not subscribing to this. The next step is going to be tortures. Especially because these people have been humiliated. These people are torturing women and children. They are doing horrible, awful things to the most vulnerable people. I talked about 3-week-old baby. They talk about even younger. Sorry, they even talk about 3-year-old babies being tortured, sexually tortured by these people. The horrible things they've done to the most vulnerable is unbelievable. With me, they try to bottle. It's like, no, we don't do that. Yes, they do. Matter of fact, there are a lot of people saying there's a lot of women involved in this program. And for me, the PSYOP has been consisting of a lot of women trying to present themselves as this protective of children. You're not a protector of children. You are in a program that tortures a lot of children. And a lot of women are being tortured and even raped by these people. And with me, they try their best to try to find ways for me to look at them in a different, like, as if I don't know they torture children. Of course, you torture not only children, but a lot of women. And to try to distance themselves from the reality that they're in a program that is killing and tormenting babies of all ages. They're trying to make me think in different ways. For example, right now, that's when you know your brain is being pushed into a level of illogicalness, to counter the fact that these people are involved in a program that is torturing babies, kids of all ages, little girls, little boys, from toddlers, babies to teenagers. They're trying to make me think of perps, or people who became perps, and be like, like this person, she, for example, she had a child with, protected her child. It's like, stupid. When I can bring up testimonies, which of course I will, of children being tortured. They are doing so much horrible things to babies and women. So for me, it's been a reminder of, okay, remember who these people are. They are going to try to create a PSYOP. They can't even speak about a pedophile that picked up kids at the YMCA. They can't say Roy Moore. It's like a blasphemous name. You think people like that protect children? They are pounding the door. They're making noise campaign, like to stop me speaking up the reality of the things. And they tell me I'm going to be tortured and raped. Listen, this is not going to change reality. Target individual, see them for what they are. These men, women, and there's a lot of women torturing women. These childlike individuals will be torturing the most vulnerable people. They try to vilify us and then try to paint themselves in a different ways to counter the reality of what they are. These people torture the most innocent people, vulnerable people, and then try to vilify you and manipulate you into accepting these falsifications of reality. For me, I see them truly for what they are. I call them Roy Moore. Sorry. Let me say something else. I say the word Roy Moore in order to put them to the level they should be. You see, this pedophile? Roy Moore, yes. Why can't you say his name? This is who's torturing me. You guys are bottom feeders who day in and day out try to manipulate people to think about children in pedophilia ways. And there are so many testimonials of the horrible things you've done to people and the systematic pedophilia type of torture. Now, make yourself think that I'm not going to see that. I don't care what you do on the side. I don't care about the volunteering aspect of things. You will always be humiliated by reality. And I'm talking about this target, this perps that try to rewire fantasy, reality. But listen to what they do to women and children and understand. These bottom feeders will create a psyop of all sorts. They can't even speak about, for me, I'm just, that's why I know God, there's truly some kind of God-like entity. Because as they paint themselves as this like femme fatale, feminist, like femme fatale, say the name of this pedophile. His name is Roy Moore. Don't say Rod Moore. Okay. You understand what? It's fair. And on top of that, of course, you're going to hear the problem that those entities running the show. And if you ever want to think to bring up reality why I'm in this program, I have recording me talking with my manager, telling him what's going on, why you guys are acting this way. Because these people are the reason why they put me in this program. That is no employers try to counter reality. Tell my target individuals stay strong and know that justice will be done for the nasty things they do to us. For me, I expected nothing but the worst. It's going to be a theatrical of torture to counter reality. So to all my target individuals, stay strong.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutmann to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan, and please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.
They try to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. It's disgusting. They take this whole thing into account so much and make it so dramatic. It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting, disgusting, disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't care. I just
called V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual as well. I can be free from this torture. Every day has been a miracle of survival. I also experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos in my closed eyes.
Military medical research. I too believe my experience is referred to as no-touch torture, utilizing defense technologies. Jonathan Marino, he basically predicted all this a number of years ago in his book Undue Risk. I'm asking you to help initiate a congressional investigation. We've all come a long way. This is what is needed. We want to have the accounts of this extreme human rights abuse that's going on in our country documented and heard, all of the accounts. We also need what was done during the Clinton administration, which is a major declassification of some of these documents that are hiding what's been going on. I speak for many when I say we've suffered long enough. My personal experience has been 10 years. I've been vilified. I've been ostracized. I've been tortured. I have burns on my body. I'm an American. I have rights. The answer to the question, the big question today, could it happen today? The answer is yes, it is happening today. It is happening for some of us every day. I am begging for you to help us. Thank you.
And I am a victim of organized stalking, electronic harassment, microwave torture, V2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture. And I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And I'm a victim of organized
We
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, and I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the U.S., in Illinois, and I'm a victim of organized
We
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, microwave torture,
I've been targeted for 9 years.
24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against. We need your support and help in ending this crime.
Hello, my name is Wendy Brown. I'm a targeted individual who is living in New Zealand. but my targeting began in California. I'm an American citizen, and the targeting continues in New Zealand. I'm making this video in remembrance of Targeted Individual Day, our third annual Targeted Individual Day. And I'm asking that every honest-hearted human being open their eyes to a crime.
My name is Jeanette. I am 56 years old and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a victim of covert electronic harassment and torture. I am a targeted individual.
Hello.
Why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. It's brutally painful. I have a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, first floor, second floor, 2 garage, backyard, land, everything. Can't live in my house. My neighbors are shooting direct energy weapons through my house. I hold my heart like this. You know why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. Come get me. Oh, Lord, because I think I'm dying. I'm making this video
in an attempt to expose this horrific nightmare.
Hello, I'm making this video to honor the 3rd annual Targeted Individual Day. That's August 29th, 2020. My name is Linda Marie Sharp in Mendocino County, California, United States. I am a targeted person and have been for over 12 years. I am electronically tortured by directed energy weapons.
Hi, my name is Lisa Davis and I'm in Duluth, Minnesota. I am a targeted individual.
I often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes. It also includes
and have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain. I asked him what was wrong and if he needed to use the restroom, but he said no to having to use the restroom and was not able to verbalize anything more due to his language delay. He looked puzzled and bewildered. Even though I had stated that it was time to do more work right before this
occasion, I was told I was going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, she's going to get shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really?
I don't know what the magical thing is, but you are literally creating new senses that the brain recognizes it. And this may be another human being, maybe a computer. And the Navy, I did some research with the Navy, for example. You can put tactile sensors on the tongue, you know, grayscale tactile sensors that matched up with an image of a camera of divers with sonar. And now they blind the divers and the same parts of the brain light up under functional MRI with the tactile sensors as if the diver can see. They can see through their tongue. We rewired the brain. And so this is what extrasensory perception is. We're rewiring the brain so they actually have more inputs. Now, there's a cost to that. I mean, if you put more senses in, you're taking away from your other senses, and that's what we notice in our research. But, you know, we've all heard of people who have been blinded in a car accident or something. All of a sudden their hearing becomes sharper, their taste becomes sharper, and that's because the brain reorganizes, uses those neurons for more distinguishing power. They're getting rewired. They will never be the same human being again, especially if they're under the trauma-based program. Torture, trauma never leaves anyone the same.
Had sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. The CIA did not answer detailed questions, saying only that the agency takes all allegations of possible criminal misconduct committed by personnel seriously. So you're saying the reason why they didn't take this more seriously, why there weren't actual prosecutions that were carried out, is because what they were trying to not only protect their agency, but trying to abuse have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more frequency in our intelligence agencies, or is this something that is more pervasive in the general population than I originally realized? I mean, what's going on here? This is so bizarre and so evil.
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you know, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance. Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind?
8 billion brains on the planet, potentially. Read them. Marines. Underwater.
How do you explain this is happening to Len? How do you rationalize
him in private? I have to throw away the ones on a bunch of chemical imbalances. But the conversations, the derogatory, that's just typical breakdown. You know, have you ever been to boot camp? You're a worm until you're part of the team. And why would you want to break down the ego of that person? To rebuild it. So this gets into creating Manchurian candidates, split personality spies, and information couriers, people that will carry the V2K. So they'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this. And so anyway, my interview with Len, he very well described a typical breakdown script that's used on almost all the TI victims. TI stands for targeted individuals. Some of them are pretty crazy. They have names like Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, and those are the confusion tactics. And when they're breaking down the ego of the human through all the pains and tortures and the verbal breakdown, these are typical CIA torture scripts. I mean, Kubark.
The targets were forced to perform homosexual acts on each other against their will and religion in order not to be beaten or killed. This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa.
Able to impose any information on the brain of a person, presumably by some kind of waves, which in the mind take the form of voices, thoughts and images and imagination. In addition to this kind of implanting information that they need, they manipulate the psyche so that the information is written into your memory. Then by stimulating the certain regions in the brain they can retrieve this information and present it as your own memory. This is the conclusion that can be made judging by the influence they have been making on me with their psychotronic weapons, for example artificial thoughts, imagination, and mental torture. And have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. Three of my children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner's syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner's syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured. Recent